welcome back to my channel. My name is Casey. I'm so excited to have you here today. Today is going to be part 3 of my Copacetic Cosmetics eyeshadow single swatch parties. That was a mouthful. Part 1, I swatched my warm tones, and part 2 were my cool tones. I will have both videos linked in the description box below for you in case you missed them. Today for part 3, we're going to be swatching my greens. I foresee this being an ongoing series because I am a Copacetic Cosmetics affiliate, so in addition to just truly enjoying their eyeshadows and continuing to grow my collection on my own, I do receive PR. A few of these shades we'll be swatching today have been received in PR. I'll be sure to denote them as we go along. Otherwise, the majority of my collection has been purchased on my own. If you're interested in saving 10% off your Copacetic Cosmetics order, you can use code IT'sCaseyWilson at checkout. I plan to go about this video the same way I did for parts 1 and 2. I will swatch each shadow row by row. I will show you the swatches under studio lighting and in natural lighting. I will have the shadows listed in the description box below in the order that they are swatched, and I will also place little asterisks next to the ones that are my favorites. If you are new to my channel, I'm not much of a colorful eyeshadow wearer. I'm much more into neutrals, but earthy, grungy greens are a weak point of mine. So I do have a few of those to show you today. I'm so very excited. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all, please leave them for me in the comments below. Other than that, let's get to swatching. First up, we have the shade Murky Waters. This is described as a brown tinted green matte. If you're a neutral lover and if you're interested in building up your Copacetic matte collection, I definitely recommend this one. It's a neutral in my eyes, but because of that green undertone, it's still earthy and grungy. You get a little bit of color. I love this one to smoke out my outer corner, to line my upper and lower lash line with. It's such a pretty, pretty color, especially as we enter fall. Next is the shade Juniper from the All of You A Lot collection. It's described as a deep yellow-green matte. I did receive the All of You A Lot collection in PR. It was a collection of 5 eyeshadows, all beautiful grungy greens. I will pop the reel I created swatching all 5 shadows here so you can see. I believe I also have it as a short here on my channel as well as on my Instagram, which I will link below. Next is the shade 96. This is described as a muted chartreuse green matte. I believe I received this one in one of my Copacetic monthlies. I love how vibrant this one is, being that I'm a neutral lover and I'm a little bit intimidated by color. I love wearing this one all over my lid as a single shadow. Pair it with winged liner and mascara. I just love the look. Next is the shade Amer Fort, another favorite of mine. It's described as a matte olive green yellow. If you love those grungy, almost poopy green type colors, you will love this one. Another one that I love all over the lid. It makes for a beautiful base for some of these shimmers I'm going to show you in a bit. On the viewfinder here, it's looking very similar to 96, and it is, but it has a touch more yellow and is much more muted. It's definitely more of a grungy, earthy tone versus a bright pop of color. This is the shade Green Tea, also part of the All of You A Lot collection. It's described as a medium green matcha shade. Honestly, I don't think that description could be more on point. This is exactly the color of powdered matcha from my experience. This is the shade Tang. This is from the Vibrance 2.0 collection. This is described as a neon pastel bold yellow. A really fun one for the inner corner or again all over the lid. I found the lighter pastel mattes. They seem to be just a touch drier than the rest of Copacetic's mattes, which in my opinion makes them difficult to swatch, but they do perform well on the eyes, especially when paired with a primer or some sort of base. It looks so bright on the viewfinder, so the description is very accurate. This is a very bright neon pastel yellow. The last shade in this row is also our last matte for this swatch video. This is the shade Flytrap, also from the Vibrance 2.0 collection. It's described as a neon pastel green. I don't know how well my camera is able to pick up texture, so you can see what I mean by these being just a little bit drier. But look how pigmented that swatched. Here we have the complete first row. From left to right, we have the shades Murky Waters, Juniper, 96, Amer Fort, Green Tea, Tang, and Flytrap. The next 6 shades are all metallics. These are going to be more of the earthy, grungy type greens that I love. There are definitely going to be a few favorites here. First up is the shade Olive Oil, also from the Olive You a Lot collection. It's described as an olive green metallic with a bronze undertone. This is my favorite shadow from the entire Olive You a Lot collection. It's just the perfect olive green metallic with a beautiful reflective bronze undertone. The way the light bounces off it, it's so pretty, especially all over the lids or as a halo eye. Next is the shade Seaweed, also from the Olive You a Lot collection. This is described as a deep, grungy olive green. Seaweed is very similar to olive oil, but it lacks that undertone, that reflective undertone, so it's not quite as shifty in the light, but it's much richer, a little bit sultry in my opinion, a little bit darker. I mean, would you need both? The realistic side of me wants to say no, but obviously the makeup eyeshadow loving part of me says, of course. I guess it just depends on what your preferences are. If you like something a little more reflective like I do, then I would go with olive oil. But if you're looking for a true olive green metallic, I think you would prefer Seaweed. Next is the shade Jade. This is the last shadow from the Olive You a Lot collection. It's described as a dirty, pale yellow-green metallic. I really like this one too, especially for a halo eye. It's just so reflective. Again, the way the light bounces off it is so eye-catching, so pretty. I don't love the look of gold eyeshadows on me personally, especially a rich, warm gold. It's just, I don't know, it's a little too much, a little too punchy for my liking. But something like this, it's almost like that dirty green undertone, tones it down, cools it down a little bit, and of course that high shine finish really makes it pop on the lids. I mean, look at the way the light is bouncing off that swatch. Next is the shade Slither. It's described as a muted jade green with gold aura. I received this in a Copacetic monthly. I believe it was the Anaconda box. Oh, I loved that whole collection. If you're a green lover, I think you'll really enjoy a lot of the products I received in that box. I can link my unboxing video below if you're interested in checking it out. I swatched everything. I've been subscribed for a little over a year now and plan to continue. I just look forward to it every single month. Plus, it's a fun way to build up my Copacetic collection in all categories: eyeshadow, lip products, and nail polish. This is the shade Angst. It's described as a muted beige. This one is fairly new to my collection. I picked it up during their anniversary sale in July because I'm on a mission to get all of the Copacetic neutrals. Because as I said, I am a neutral lover and I love the Copacetic shadow formula, especially their metallics and their fun flaky shades. Angst has a thinner formula than the previous 4 metallics. It's still smooth and pigmented, but I've found depending on what you're using to apply, if you're using a brush, it might take a little bit longer to build up. I personally prefer to use my finger. I think this one is perfect as a smoky eye. All over the lid, a little liner, some mascara. It's really all you need. The last shadow of this row is the shade Schrooms. It's described as a green rose gold tri-shifting shadow. This is also new to my collection, another one I bought during the anniversary sale, and I think it may be my favorite from that order. I love this color of duochrome or multichrome, that yellow gold base that flips to red and brown and bronze and green. Unlike the previous 5 shadows, this one does have a sparkly finish. It has a very subtle rose base with tons of gold and green sparkle. That rose base really shines in the shadows and along the corners. So on the lids, because of the shape of her eyes, you're going to get a lot of dimension in your look with this shadow. Here is the complete second row of swatches. From left to right, we have the shades Olive Oil, Seaweed, Jade, Slither, Angst, and Schrooms. The first shadow in row 3 is the shade Spodium. It's described as a sparkly black shimmer. The sparkle in the shadow is the finest silver sparkle. This one reminds me a little bit of New Year's Eve, like when you're getting dressed up and really glamorous. Because the sparkle is so very fine, it's not too shifty or chunky or anything, it works beautifully to smoke out your outer corner. It's quite glamorous. Next, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of this shade. I'm just going to pop it up here on the screen. If you know how to pronounce it, let me know, sound it out for me. This is described as a black base emerald green with green shimmers. Both this one and Spodium have a much thinner, finer formula compared to some of the other metallics we've swatched in this video. As I said before, I find them to work best when applied with a finger. If you're working with a brush, you might have to spend a little bit more time building them up, especially this one with the black base. Using the finger really helps pack on more of the sparkle. This one reminds me of a glamorous Christmas Eve, like if you're getting dressed up and you want to do a smoky eye, this one would be so pretty, dusted along the outer corner or as a liner. So sultry but still festive. Next is the shade Hero of Time. This was part of the Legends of Zelda collection for the July anniversary sale. This collection was designed by Chris, who is Olivia's husband. I don't know if they have done this every year, but I know for sure the last 2 years they both will create a collection and then have somewhat of a contest to see who could sell more shadows from their collection. If you watch my part 2 swatching video, one of my favorite shadows was also designed by Chris. It's the shade Oxidation. He had quite a few unique shadows in his collection this time around also. I mean, don't get me wrong, Olivia's were beautiful also, but I have to say Chris creates really cool, quite unique eyeshadows. I think he's got a little bit of a gift. Hero of Time is described as a slate blue gray base with a duochrome shift. This one is so shifty. Very impressive. I don't know how well that shift is going to show here on camera under this lighting, but I'll definitely capture it when I do the swatches under natural lighting. Just like the previous 2 shadows, this one has a thinner, finer formula, so I prefer to use my finger when applying it. Applying this one wet really makes that shift pop and makes it even more reflective. This one definitely has a high shine sparkle finish. That sea green and that cool blue and that purple shift paired with that sparkly finish gives me major mermaid vibes. It just fulfills my fantasies of wanting to be the Little Mermaid when I was a little girl. Next is the shade Gingham. This is from Olivia's collection Tea Time. It's described as a green teal frosted shimmer. so interesting. On the viewfinder, I'm seeing a teal blue metallic, but in person here, it's definitely a minty cool green with a frosty teal flip. The last shade for this row is the shade Good Luck. This was part of their Berry Cute collection. This one I did receive in PR. It's described as a green teal pastel shifting shimmer. I enjoyed this collection a lot more than I thought I would. Being someone who doesn't wear a lot of color, especially pastels, I didn't think I'd get as much use out of this collection, but I surprisingly do. I find all 5 shadows to be really fun transformer type shadows. Pairing them with different bases, they add a little bit of color and just the right amount of shifty shimmer. The formula of the previous 4 shadows were a bit thinner, finer in consistency, whereas the formula for Good Luck is more similar to the shadows in the All of You a Lot collection. They seem to be a bit more textured. I pick up more product with my finger, and they have more of a high shine reflective look on the lids. Here is the complete 3rd row of swatches. From left to right, we have the shade Spodium, the one I'm not going to pronounce, Hero of Time, Gingham, and Good Luck. We're going to swatch the last 3 shadows. The 3 shadows are all flaky formulas. As I've said in past videos, I love their flaky formula. I am a neutral lover for sure, but I love sparkle. It's a rare day where I don't have at least a hint of sparkle somewhere on my eyelids, and these have just become some of my favorite toppers to turn to. First up, we have the shade Cookie Crumbs. It's described as being a slightly tan shimmer with gold shifting shimmers throughout. This one isn't quite as flaky as the next 2 shadows would be. I find that the flaky formula varies just a little bit. I talked about it in one of my last 2 swatch videos. Some of the flakes are a bit bigger and more textured, but they result in more textured eye looks. Cookie Crumbs is one that is finer in texture. So you still get a little texture, lots of sparkle. Next is the shade Marie Curie. This is part of the Victorian quad. It's described as an iridescent gold shift pressed flaky. So this one is going to be more of the textured flaky I mentioned. I definitely recommend a glitter glue with this one. I'm never sure how to swatch these because they're quite difficult to swatch. I don't really see them as being intended for all over the lids, for all over color. They're more of a topper. As you can see towards the right of the swatch, I tried to pack a little more on so you have more of that foiled finish, whereas more towards the left of the swatch, I tapped it on. They're just so fun because you get to be the creator of how you want the look to turn out. If you want that really vibrant foiled finish, if you want a lot of sparkle, if you want just a touch. So the flakes are a true iridescent gold, but when pressed together to create more of that foiled look, they translate to have more of a white gold frosty appearance. The last flaky is the shade Aptitude. This is described as a lime white teal pressed flaky. This is one of my favorite flakies. I have a couple, I have many. Let's be honest, I have many. This being one of them. I received this in one of my Copacetic monthlies, and the look I created with it, which I also wore in the unboxing video, is one of my favorite Copacetic looks I've created so far. This one isn't quite as textured as Marie Curie, but it's more textured than Cookie Crumbs. This one falls right in between. I feel the teal shift shines through in the shade and around the edges. So as I said earlier, when worn on the lids, because of the shape of the eye, you get a lot of dimension with this shadow because you see more of that flip. The flip isn't super strong, but it's there. Lastly, for this row, we have a pressed highlighter. This is Snake in the Grass. It's described as a pale, grungy olive green. I received this in one of my Copacetic monthlies, the Anaconda box. This one really surprised me. I really enjoy this as a highlighter, of course, but also for highlighting my inner corner and my brow bone. Being a highlighter, of course, is going to have more of a sheer appearance. I tried to build it up a little bit so you can see that pale, grungy olive green color. It's icy, but yet I feel there's a warmth to it that is really, really pretty. Just a fun take on a neutral champagne-esque highlighter. Here is the complete row of swatches. From left to right, we have Cookie Crumbs, Curie, Aptitude, and Snake in the Ground. That is going to conclude this video. Those were all of my green-esque Copacetic single eyeshadows thus far. As I said in the intro, I foresee this being an ongoing series on my channel, so if you enjoy and if you want to see more swatches from Copacetic Cosmetics as well as all types of makeup, I love doing swatches for you guys. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Let me know which shadows caught your eye. Do you plan on picking any of these up? Are you a green shadow lover? For my next swatch video, I've acquired a lot of neutrals, both mattes and metallics, shimmers. So if you're a neutral lover, I think you'll definitely enjoy part 4. It may be a bit yet before I'm able to get part 4 up though. These videos do take quite a bit of time for me to create because of all the swatching and all the information I like to include. So I apologize for the wait, but I hope in the end they are helpful. I hope you at least enjoyed looking at beautiful shadows. Leave me any questions, comments, anything at all. I'll also have my discount code and a link to the Copacetic website in the description box. I want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you hit that subscribe button to come back next time. And until next time, I hope you have the most wonderful day.